Welcome to Newsworthy Stories with Jacqueline Jimenez. A local nonprofit is sharing a success story of how a student who used to attend that center for help is now a part of the staff. A South Florida nonprofit has been a lifeline in the Alapata community for years for children in need of a second home. The Motivational Edge providing a place for children to get help with their schoolwork and explore their creative
You
abilities.
may get it stretched to different proportions, slightly different on the canvas. It might even work better the way that you do, right? So see what you have in front of you and see if you could actually make it work as opposed to going over the exact thing.
The impact so great for one student, he's now come full circle, becoming the center's lyrical expression teacher and owes it all to the staff who helped him get on the right path.
Where would I be if I was not at the edge? Wow, that is a good question. I would like to say that since they saved me, because I, as a student, was not on the right path. I did not have good grades in school, and I had my mind fixated on doing whatever I wanted to do. I wanted to be here because I was one of the students where, like many others, when I was here at the time, this is a home for us. So it was the place to be at school, as they like to say, the cool spot. So if you were in school and then you got out, it's like, oh, so what are we doing today? It's like, yo, we going to the edge. We gonna make music. We gonna hang out. It was a family. It was a community here. Anytime we needed help, they were here for us and ready to help at all and anytime. I curate music. I'm over the lyrical expression department, which we make music for as production, instrumentation, songwriting, yeah, and even performances. And I just added personally of my own. I taught myself how to DJ so I could teach the students how to DJ and bringing that program back here. So now I'm over production, DJing, and lyrical expression.
The Motivational Edge providing a stable atmosphere for children, many who come from foster care homes.
Sometimes a lot of weird things come up because, when you deal with humans, weird things come up. I say, well, how are we going to solve this problem with love? Because, and then when you deal with kids too, the generation before us wanted to teach hard lessons. And I think it's more important to do the right thing than to prove a point. And I like to, just lead and solve the problem with love. And I think if you just remember your purpose, remember what you're here for, and not about your current emotional feeling of whatever it is, that you should just, and it always works out when you start that way, always, every single time.
You gotta know everything. How's your team feeling? How are the kids feeling? It's everything. It's a good oiled machine.
Like most nonprofits, the Motivational Edge welcomes sponsors, donations, and grants, but also focuses on a social enterprise format. The center teaches the kids to create artwork, then sell it, and even teach or perform the lyrical expression skills they learned at the center to others.
I like to thank them all, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of them I have spoken with and told them that I'm thankful for their service because, like I said, the things that they instilled in me, I get to instill in the kids here. And growing up, I was always taught, give the gift onto others. So if you've been blessed with something, share that with us.
Stories like this can be generated from your business or nonprofit, agency, school. These types of stories happen on a daily basis if you know what you're looking for. One of the main reasons I was at the Motivational Edge was to conduct a workshop on how to generate news coverage for the nonprofit or how to create content that will get their story out on a regular basis. And here are some of the things that we discussed.
Have that why and that thing. I really all need to agree on that, what that response is, so we're all working towards the same. When you do that and everyone's on the same page, then you can get to that result faster. But if you're like, oh, well, I just care about my thing, or I just care about, you won't get there as fast. So work on one why at a time, and then Work on your whys. Yeah, work on your whys.
So Stephen asked a really great question. He says, what makes a story newsworthy?
Okay.
What makes a story newsworthy is the same thing you were saying. It fulfills the need. It fulfills your passion. So a news story is anything that you would talk about, honestly. So they call it the water cooler conversation, but anything that makes you would say, well, this happened today at the motivational edge. We did this. That's news. For me, what is most selling points is you said they call you guys mom and pop. You said stability. So when all those other things, the reason why that sounds different is because the other things that you mentioned, everybody says, we come to empower, we come to educate, but it's the details. How are you doing that? What is their response? So when you're talking to the students and the kids that come here, when they are sharing, we need them to say, you call me mom and pop. This is stability in our family. These are the types of testimonials that you want. Because if people understand that, they are going to give. Okay? Education and those are great things. Those are great things that you're doing. But people will not go into their pockets to give unless they know the kids feel that way. You're not just looking for money the way you're transformative social businesses.
So for example, social enterprise can exist in various ways, right? So if the kids are making t-shirts here and they sell those t-shirts and those t-shirts are what run the programming, that's a social enterprise model. Rather than taking a grant and starting a program at a school, right, that would be a donation and grant model. A social enterprise says, you need this service here, pay us what it costs to provide the service, and we'll come in and we'll bring the teachers, that'll cover the fees for the teacher and all of that. So a social enterprise is an enterprise that is a non-for-profit, but it generates an income at the same time.
Also, one of the biggest, I guess, let's say, is lyrical expression, right? It's almost like we go to schools and we offer lyrical expression with a social emotional component. So that's one of our biggest outreach sites, doing lyrical expression. We offer graffiti, visual arts, dance, sports and wellness. We actually have a mentoring
And for our
that
daughters, we sell the paintings.
that's another thing, yes, the kids can sell.
Training professionals, so using lyrical expression as a team building retreat type of situation for businesses and things like that. So those are all things that generate income.
That's another one, team building.
I agree that we need to get the team together and what's our why, what's our, what do we want to portray?
Situation for businesses and things like that. So those are all things that generate income.
That's another one, team building.
I agree that we need to get the team together and what's our why, what's our, what do we want to portray, right? What do we want to, what is newsworthy? Decide on that, and then, get to work.
And those are just some of the ideas and some of the thought processes we were able to share during that workshop. I conduct workshops and master classes, on a monthly basis. And really, if I put times on Eventbrite so people can sign up for them. But if those times don't work for you, please let me know. Just contact me through my website, newsworthystory.com, and let's get it on the calendar. And I say that because the impact that these stories are having on social media, or when businesses and nonprofits generate news stories on television, that combination of both, it's just working. They are getting their messaging out because they're owning their own messaging by telling that story on social media as well. And then you've got, when it's told from your local media, it's just that massive, it's going out on such a large scale at the same time. Plus, it's credibility. It gives you credibility. It also will help build your brand. There's so many different benefits to growing your business through story. I cannot share how important this is, but it is. And so that's why I hold these workshops and master classes. It's the reason I wrote my handbook, How to Get Television News Coverage. It's easier than you might think. I mean, this is what I had in mind. In fact, nonprofits were one of the main reasons why I wrote that handbook, because most people don't understand what newsrooms consider newsworthy. If they did, they would send more stories. Um, COVID was the one reason I started producing news stories for social media, and it just took off. But this is actually what I wrote that handbook for, is to teach the entire team how to generate news stories around your business, around what you do every day. Most of you carry your phones anyway to events or around, you have them at work. But when you understand what is a news story and how easy it is to identify it, you can just pull out your phones and talk about it, just like you would do every day. Storytelling is just that, storytelling. That water cooler story, that's your news story 99% of the time. You just need to know how to shoot it and how to share it. And that's where Newsworthy Stories comes in. What I do is not complicated, it is easy, and I believe that's why it's working so well. So join me on my next workshop or masterclass. I would love to share this with you. At least do the introductory one. Do the introductory news worthy stories, news coverage workshop, so that you can understand what news can actually cover, why they share the stories that they share, because really and truly, the stories that you see on a nightly basis are not actually the stories that they would like to cover more of. You know, they cover those stories because those stories, they can reach those stories every night. But they would rather have stories that come from you, that come from the community. But that takes a little bit more effort. And so I share with you in my workshops how to hand your story over to the media pretty much on a silver platter, so that it's easy for them to cover it. And because they are on a deadline, from the time they walk in the door until they leave, constantly on a deadline. And that is one thing that you have to understand about news. Most of the stories, if you ever send a story to the newsroom, it's about, do we have someone to cover it, or how much time, do we need to get this done? Time is a really big issue, and once you understand what newsrooms actually need, you can curtail your story to get the coverage that you're looking for and that they want. They want to tell your story, but you have to send it to them in a way that they can actually get it on the air in time, in a timely fashion, because news likes to have their stories fresh, hot off the press, right? So join me for my next workshop or masterclass. Thank you so much for watching Newsworthy Stories. And of course, if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.
What you need to understand is your phones as a business owner and your iPads. You don't need to have a media marketing department if you know how to use your phones. The reporter's primary job is to tell the story, but a producer's primary job is to sell the story. And while this is important to you, because this is what you need to do as well for social media, because social media is your audience.
We want to give you a scholarship to come and be a part of Florida Memorial University.
Hello and welcome to Newsworthy Stories. I am Jacqueline Jimenez and I am live in London, getting ready for the London's New Year's Day Parade, where Marjorie Stoneman Douglas of Parkland, Florida, the Eagle Regiment, was invited to perform here. It has been an extraordinary week, and I'm so looking forward to sharing the stories of what they've been doing the week that they've been here. Hello, I'm Jacqueline Jimenez with Newsworthy Stories, and what I'm finding is astounding. I've been using my cell phone and an iPad Pro to generate news coverage all over the world, and it's something any business or nonprofit or corporation can do because your cell phone goes with you wherever you go. Your marketing department doesn't. As a news producer for over 30 years and media strategist, I've been able to help Carter Bonus of Spectrum Golf go from securing his first interview live on the Golf Channel. That coverage led to him walking the Chubb Classic with the legendary Ernie Els. Now he's Sports Illustrated Sports Kid of the Year in less than a year. He's also been named a Stoppable campaign, which included tickets to the Masters. Plus, he was selected for Doug Flutie's Stars of the Spectrum Golf Team, a competitive league for autistic golfers.
You just have to put your mind to it.
On tonight's 7 Spot.
Part of his success is due to teaching his parents how to shoot video in a way the media would use it on air, and in a way I could produce news stories specifically for social media. That way we could own the messaging.
We want to give you a scholarship to come and be a part of Florida Memorial University.
Carter and his line of golf apparel are now known around the world, and he's just scratching the surface. For Janice Giles of Railbrook Elderberry Products, her business was highlighted in her new location on Black Friday twice. All the pictures and videos they use shot from my iPad. I've even taken my iPad to the U.S. Virgin Islands with James Amps of Amps International LLC to bring to light the greatest threat in the region: food sustainability and conservation. And it's working. This global story gaining the attention of the Virgin Islands Consortium, who shared a 5-minute story on our first retreat in St. Croix, then shared this article on the retreat in St. Thomas. The Caribbean Broadcast Network is also sharing our stories along with the West Side Gazette in Miami. A medical supply company that opened up in the heart of COVID was one of the first stories I produced during the pandemic. They went from virtually no business at all to nonstop customers.
So we were just opening the store, and obviously, no real budget to do any immediate marketing. We didn't really have our proper signage yet. We didn't have signage outside. So we were new store without any visibility. So in Jacqueline coming in and saying, you need to get visible. You're an essential business. We need to talk about your store. We need to get it out there. What she produced was a news story. Before we had the story, we really just had a couple of people kind of walking by. Then the story broke. Then we had people coming in saying, we saw your story. That was amazing. Oh my gosh, you have a crafter. You're working with someone locally. And then people just attach themselves to that. They want to feel a part of community, and local news stories on local, with a local reach is really so impacting. It has just been so important for us to have that. We're so appreciative of that opportunity. We would have never known how to do that. It's really meant a lot of business to get our name out there on social media.
Using video shot mostly on the phones of Pilates instructors all over the world, I was able to produce stories about Pilates Day for the Pilates Method Alliance. I was also able to produce multiple stories for 2 of their conferences, the last one in Las Vegas. I tell people all the time I'm not a videographer, but after working with the pros for decades, I just know what to shoot. And it's really essential for social media, especially when you're trying to create original content on a daily basis. But I don't always shoot video from my iPad. I also have a team of professional camera crews that will shoot intimate settings or corporate events. The ICAPA World Network is a perfect example. It maximizes its signature events through story, generating interest in the organization and providing a tool for every guest to share on their social media sites, highlighting honorees and sponsors.
If you don't network, you might not work.
The cybersecurity experts at Land Infotech using their stories to open doors about how they've been impacting the community throughout COVID. Instead of them talking about how great their efforts have been, they simply shared my story. Give people an idea of how you've been using this story to your benefit on social media and promos and whatnot.
It's better than having a website or a business card. We use it as intros at all different events. We use it to our vendors because we represent various manufacturers, and now we're showing them what we're doing to the community. And it's not just coming from my mouth; it's coming from the hard work of Jacqueline, of course, and as well as our customers. And in some of the pieces, they're not even customers; they're people that we've just wanted to help. And we don't do this just for clients. We want to help everyone in the community.
The impact of their stories, expanding their reputation as a business leader in their industry to a leader in the community as well.
Eventually, what will happen is he will get paid moving forward. because everyone sees the value in what he's brought to the table. We're just very lucky and fortunate to have Landon Fulton.
For nonprofits like the Healing Arts Institute of South Florida, Media Strategies and Stories help secure grants worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to offer no-cost mental health services primarily across the state of Florida. It also helped generate grants because funders could see their work.
What would you like to tell the kids who maybe have a diagnosis like you have, maybe autism or ADHD or something? What do you want to tell them?
That it's okay to feel different, and when you're upset, really upset, just talk to someone you trust.
Healing Arts continues to impact the community, not only with therapy, but by sponsoring family fun events, helping children and families heal from the trauma of the pandemic and more. Franchisors and business executives who offer services in multiple states are finding they can take the same story idea and get coverage in 2 places at once.
First, I have to say that Jacqueline did a fabulous job of writing up a press release, not just for us, but also for our franchisee, Tammy Krakalici, who is in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. And as a matter of fact, you were 2 for 2, Jacqueline, because not only did we get covered yesterday by the NBC affiliate WPTV, Channel 5 in West Palm Beach, Tammy this afternoon was covered for 2 hours by her local TV stations up in Massachusetts.
Hello and welcome to Newsworthy Stories. I am Jacqueline Jimenez and I am live in London. While in London supporting the Eagle Regiment Marching Band from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, I was able to generate news coverage from Channel 10 News in Miami before they played in London's New Year's Day parade. When the band returned back to South Florida, Channel 10 met them at the airport for an exclusive story. The Eagle Regiment is heading to the Macy's Day Parade next. Guess who I'm going to call first? While I enjoy covering and producing stories, the most important aspect of Newsworthy Stories are the workshops and masterclasses that are based on my handbook, How to Get Television News Coverage. It's easier than you might think. I can train your entire business or organization how to generate news stories so you'll have original content and you won't have to rely on stock photos to tell your story. The reason why Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram are so popular is because people are genuinely curious. They want to learn more about you, and when they do, it creates customer loyalty and it puts fuel on personal branding. It just out the window.
I'm a profound believer in exposure, profound believer in vision, because even the Bible says, without vision, the people will perish.
Make no mistake about it. I want every client's story to go beyond my abilities, so I go to the master. I pray over every project and the purpose behind it, and I believe that's the success behind Newsworthy Stories. Our stories are raising awareness, changing lives, and building businesses, and the driving force behind what we do is the impact it has on the community.
Relationship, relationship, relationship.
From personal profiles of success stories to cyclists joining in solidarity, there are news stories all around you. I am on a journey, and the media is a mission field. There's a story in your service. Let me help you share it.